Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be looking at a fat electrician video. This one is called World War II Veteran versus the HOA-Van T. Barfoot. Look, I despise HOAs. I mean, it's just like, it's always run by like the worst Karen ever, right? So I just adore it when I get to see them being just like torn to shreds. And so that's what I want to see from this video. I want to see this guy absolutely wreck these folks. Like, I don't know. Have you ever lived in a place that had a homeowners association, and did they suck? Because it feels like the entire thing that they exist to do is like yuck your yum. And like your thing isn't hurting anybody, but they're freaking out about about the stupidest thing. Have you seen that one that like the lady of the head of the homeowners association or whatever was freaking out because somebody had like a goat statue, or like they had like a little frog statue or something? Gargoyle? It was a gargoyle. It was the Christmas gargoyle. And she had a gargoyle out on her thing, and like it became this whole thing. It was amazing. If you don't know that story, look it up. Frank the Gargoyle was a fantastic story. But like, it's always things like they don't want you to build the tree house, and like, anyway, I don't like them. So I'm hoping that this is them getting wrecked. That's what I want. I want the homeowners association to get absolutely wrecked. I don't want to waste any more time finding out about it, though, so let's go!
This is it. This is a trifecta, a video where I finally get to talk about the military while simultaneously bashing on Karens and HOAs all at the same time.
Good. Wonderful. I'm
Ladies
so
and
here
gentlemen,
for
the
it.
year's 2009. It's December, and it's been one of the craziest years in recent history. Barack Obama has just been inaugurated president. The record for the highest grossing movie of all time has just been shattered by Avatar. The #1 song of the year is the Black Eyed Peas' Boom Boom Pow. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, has passed away, and Kanye West is now famous for interrupting Taylor Swift during the VMAs. And on top of all of that, it's been one of the worst economic years for America since the Great Depression, with unemployment peaking at 10% and the housing market down 30%. And despite all the craziness going on in the world, in Richmond, Virginia, a 90-year-old man still takes time out of his day to walk out of his house every morning and hoist the American flag on the 21-foot flagpole in his front yard. Later that morning,
Oh, that's what's going to happen. It's the fact that it's a 21-foot flagpole. I see. Okay. That's what's going to do it. I was trying to remember, like, what was I doing in 2009? The answer is I was in high school. So probably homework. Like, I was like, wait, 2009, what the hell was I doing? I wasn't old enough to vote yet. So I was not paying attention to things like the recession and the news. I mean, like, I remember we talked about, yep, well, we're going to be an entire generation of people, of like kids who are not going to be able to get a job because of the recession. So we knew about it in that sort of sense. It's like, well, we're boned. Let's go to college, I guess, and get even more boned. Like, we knew. I'm just trying to remember. 2009, that was a... Yeah, I was in high school. That's like about all I remember about 2009. I don't remember. Like, I remember the VMA thing.
that flagpole on his way to the mailbox to get the mail, and in the mail that day he would receive a letter from a high-powered law firm informing him that he was hereby ordered to remove that flagpole and never fly the American flag in his front yard again, due to, and I quote, aesthetic reasons relating to curb appeal. And I know what you're thinking, how on earth can you order somebody in America to not fly the American flag in their own front yard? Well, unfortunately, this gentleman lived in an HOA, a homeowners association, which if you don't know is basically diet communism. It's where a bunch of people build some nice houses, then they get together and they're like, hey, we got all these nice houses, you know what we need? More government. We've got federal, state, county, municipal. It's not enough. We need even more rules. We should.
And I feel like a lot of the time they end up being really racist, but that might just be subjective, like, just, you know, based, that might be hearsay, but, like, I feel like they often are. They're just, oof.
Should come together, designate a tribunal of elder Karens to make all the important decisions for us, you know, like whether or not I'm allowed to park my truck in front of my house overnight, what colored flowers I'm allowed to grow in my garden, and what color I'm allowed to paint my fucking house, you know, to protect our property value. But it is on this day that the tribunal of Karens in charge of the Sussex Square HOA in Richmond, Virginia are about to find out the hard way that they have picked a fight with the wrong guy, because this is not just any old man. This is retired Army Colonel Van Barfoot, a combat veteran with 35 years of service and the recipient of a Silver Star, a Bronze Star, 2 Army Air Medals, the Legion of Merit, 3 Purple Hearts, and the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Okay, actual hero. All right. Okay.
Born in 1919, Van would grow up in Mississippi during the Great Depression as a one-quarter Choctaw Native American farm kid. Then, in 1940, at the age of 21, he would volunteer to join the U.S. Army. He would achieve the rank of sergeant by 1941, and then Pearl Harbor would happen. In 1940, the United States Army had 269,000 soldiers, and by the end of 1941, it had 1.4 million. And with now Sergeant Barfoot being a non-commissioned officer in a leadership role, he is one of the few people that America and the world would turn to train and lead all these new recruits into the largest war the world has ever seen. And that is exactly what Sergeant Barfoot did, leading his men through 3 amphibious landings at Sicily, Salerno, and Anzio before his entire unit would begin fighting their way inland through Italy. Then at the small town of Carano, Italy, Barfoot and his entire company would be stopped in their tracks. In order to advance further inland, they were going to have to go through the mountains. But in those mountains, the Germans had established fortified fighting positions, and there was seemingly no way through. Over the course of the next several weeks, Barfoot would lead his squad through scouting missions, trying to find any possible way through the German defenses, but there were none. Every single possible pass through the mountains, Germans had laid down a minefield, covered that minefield with fortified machine gun positions, and on top of that, they obviously had the high ground. After being halted for over a month, the order would finally come down that Barfoot's company is to just attack, run face first into the German defenses, and try to fight their way through it. Now, if you watched last week's video, you know that trying to fight fortified machine gun positions with the high ground is an absolutely terrible idea. If you didn't, there's this guy, Jake McNasty McNeese. Him and 34 men successfully beat 700 Germans in a firefight because they had fortified machine gun nests and the high ground. And this time around,
should I watch that video? I haven't watched that one. I think Kit watched that one.
The Germans have that, plus a minefield. This is borderline a death sentence for Van's entire company, and everybody knows it. Now, Sergeant Barfoot believed that leaders should lead from the front and be willing to die for their men if necessary, which is the politically correct way of me telling you that Barfoot's about to do some gangster shit. He goes to the company commander and is like, hey, we're all gonna die anyways. Let me go out there with just me and my squad. We'll try to traverse the minefield, get in there, take out all the machine gun positions just by ourselves. Company commander's like, I mean, we're all gonna die anyways. Fuck it. Why not throw a Hail Mary, give you a shot? So that's exactly what they do. Barfoot takes off like a bat out of hell, leading from the front, not checking to see how far behind his men are. He then makes it all the way through the minefield, jumps into the ditch, looks behind him. His men haven't made it yet. Doesn't matter. Gotta keep pressing forward. He gets to the first enemy machine gun emplacement, throws a grenade in there, blows up, bang, goes in to check, just anatomical confetti everywhere. Nobody survived.
Gross.
None of this squad.
But also, I like the description. Like, it's nasty, but I kind of like anatomical confetti. That's a fantastic description.
Mates have made it yet, but he hasn't heard a mine blow up in the background, so they must be okay. They're just being overly cautious. He advances to the second machine gun emplacement, rushes in, kills 2 Germans, the other ones surrender. At this point, Barfoot's squad catches up with them. Apparently 2 of them have gotten hurt while traversing that minefield, at which point Barfoot's kind of just like, fine, whatever, just stay with the prisoners, I'll take care of it. Just complete dad energy of like, hold the flashlight and stay out of the way, I'm fucking working. He advances to the third enemy machine gun position completely by himself. Bear in mind, these Germans heard a grenade, a bunch of submachine gun fire, Germans screaming, and now there's just boss music playing, and it's getting louder as Van gets closer and closer. Van turns the corner, the Germans are like, fuck this, I quit, I surrender, I give up, you
fuck this shit, I'm out.
Win. At this point, Sergeant Barfoot has effectively saved the day. His entire company now does not have to bum rush a minefield and a bunch of fortified enemy machine gun positions. Hooray. So Sergeant Barfoot changes gears, hops into the old leadership role. He starts consolidating everything, figuring out how many POWs he has, whatnot. And then a couple minutes later, the Germans launch a counterattack and 3 German tanks come rolling down the road directly towards them. At this point, Barfoot continues to dad dick the entire situation, just like, give me the bazooka, stay in the trench, I got this. Gets out, walks out in front of these tanks, wide open, no cover, no concealment.
Oh,
nothing.
now
Just
we're using
standing
like
out
scenes
there
from The
like
Last of
fucking
Us.
Tiananmen Square with a bazooka.
I mean, that didn't go well for Bill. I was like, Nick Offerman? No.
Shoots at the first tank, knocks it out. The other 2 tanks are just kind of like, I mean, it's one crazy American with a bazooka standing in the open. This is for sure a trap, right? So they turn around and retreat. Now, just so we're all...
Just like winning by just being a baller. Just by, it's like, this can't be, what? No, this is a trap. It's like, thank God they thought, amazing. I love it. Winning through sheer chutzpah.
The same page. This man has sprinted through a minefield, cleared 3 German machine gun nests, killed 8 Germans, captured 17 more, and knocked out a tank in the span.
It is plot armor. I feel like a lot of these stories about World War II involve the American officers having like the most insane plot armor I've ever heard of, but it's real.
Of like 45 minutes. And he's like, I can do more. So he advances further into enemy-held territory by himself, finds a German artillery emplacement, proceeds to blow that up too, and then he's like, okay, that's probably enough for today. And he goes back to his men. He then proceeds to get his men and all of the POWs back to the company, and he himself personally carries his 2 wounded men back 1,700 yards. And that's it. That's the end of the story. That was like Tuesday to this guy, and he just goes on fighting through the rest of World War II like it was nothing. A couple months down the road, his entire unit's in France. The commander walks up to him and is like, congratulations, you're receiving the Medal of Honor. At which point, Barfoot requests that he receives it in the field in front of his men. He didn't want to wait till they got home and had a ceremony. He didn't want it in front of friends or family or Congress people. None of that. He wanted it in front of the men that nominated him to get it because that's what meant the most to him. He
That's
didn't
so
really care about the medal
cute.
itself. He cared that the men that he was tasked with leading into battle thought so highly of them that he thought he deserved that medal, and that's why he requested that he receive it in front of them. He would go on to make it through the war
adorable.
in
I
peace
love
and
that.
return home as a Medal of Honor recipient and war hero. At this point, Lieutenant Barfoot then goes on to serve throughout the entire Korean War, seeing it through to its completion. He has now served 20 years in the military, and it's time to retire, is what most people would say. But Barfoot, on the other hand, is like, fuck it, I just need to do something new, something exciting, maybe a little bit easier on my knees. This whole light infantry thing isn't as light as I heard it was. I want to go ahead and be a helicopter pilot. So he goes to Army Aviation School as a major, and at the age of 40, ends up being one of the top helicopter pilots the Army has, and then he goes on to serve in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot. Okay, if you don't know, during Vietnam, like most dangerous jobs, tunnel rat, helicopter pilot, door gunner, hands down, not even a question, serves throughout the entire Vietnam War, comes back home, finally retires after 35 years in service and achieving the rank of colonel. He then goes on to finish out the rest of his working life as a military contractor. Now, military contractor, that could mean anything. He could be serving food at the chow hall. He could be sitting in an office giving people advice, writing manuals.
I doubt that he's doing any of that.
He could be doing some extracurricular gangster shit. We really have no idea. However, I will point out it's a little bit odd that some dude from Mississippi decided to put his roots down in Richmond, Virginia, which is like, I don't know, an hour away from CIA headquarters. Like,
Okay. I like the speculation.
You do what you want with that information, I guess.
It's fine. We're not getting hijacked by the CIA at all. Well, we're in America, so we're probably fine. They do outside of America stuff mostly, I think.
Then, after a career of doing some extracurricular gangster shit, contracting, he would go on, retire, and live happily ever after until one day in December of 2009, when at 90 years old, he would open a letter informing him he was not allowed to fly the American flag in his own front yard, which, bear in mind, literal Nazis with machine guns couldn't stop him from flying the American flag in Germany in the 1940s. And now you're gonna try to tell him he can't do it in fucking Virginia in his own front yard. It's a bold strategy. So the next day, Colonel Barfoot's son-in-law calls up the local radio show. They run with the story. It gets picked up nationally almost immediately. Everybody from the White House press secretary to Fox News to the local VFW is absolutely furious. Okay, stop. At this point in time, it's 2009. Barack Obama's president. Do you understand what I've just told you? This HOA is fucked up so bad that they've got the Obama administration and Fox News to agree on something, okay? This is a critical fucking error on their part. The HOA would end up backing down within a week because apparently when the entire nation is looking at you like the Eye of Sauron, it ends up being bad for the aesthetics and curb appeal of your little neighborhood. And then the law firm that wrote the letter in the first place has since renamed and rebranded their entire law firm, and it's been cited in Virginia state law that no HOA can tell anybody to not fly the American flag on their property. Colonel Barfoot, proving victorious yet again, would then go on to fly the American flag in his front yard every single day for the next 2 years until passing away in his home at the age of 92. And as of March 2023, Fort Pickett in Virginia has since been renamed to Fort Barfoot in his honor.
Wow.
So in conclusion, whether it's a little old man at the restaurant eating ice cream for dessert, your friendly neighborhood mailman, or just some elderly gentleman trying to fly the American flag in his front yard, try to be nice to everybody because you really might not know who you're fucking with. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the videos, go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
I feel personally, and still feel personally, that I was doing my job. A leader is supposed to protect, lead, and sacrifice himself if necessary. I just can't imagine me ever fighting for a leader that wouldn't do that.
Wow. I mean, I love that he ended with the statement from Barfoot himself. That's really, really cool. And I love that, you know, I like the lack of hypocrisy there. He's like, no, you have to go and fight in front if you're the leader, obviously. So, and he did that. Good for him. And also, fuck you, HOAs. I never, ever, ever want to live in a place with an HOA. Ever. It just seems like I've never heard a good story about it. It all seems so awful. All the time. Like, you never hear a good story about it. It's always a struggle, and it's always like some boring, vanilla, like, idea of aesthetics. And it's like, it's never anything interesting. And then, like, you can't have anybody interesting who lives there, because if you're interesting, then you are going to break the aesthetic, because you're going to put up, I don't know, like, you'll put up a pride flag in your window, and that's bad. Or you're going to plant carnations instead of roses, you know? It's absolutely bonkers. Bonkers, bonkers, bonkers. And I don't like them. I don't like them, Sam, I am. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I will see you all in the next one.